them. So it seems SK clearly knows what Alliance have been working on, and they're just banning it away. They don't want to deal with any of it.
Taking the troll away from Freddy122 here as well, Alliance for their second ban. And kind of expected, I think. Played Trundle in the last two games, played Renekton before that one, so Trundle gonna go out.
And that's the thing with Freddy. He's so good in lane that he will always get the farm he needs, and he's not even losing his turret. So taking away the Trundle means you won't have to deal with this late game monster that Freddy is, and also you don't have to think too much about his split pushing.
I was going to say, the next question that I have is, will they ban Renekton and take away the stronger of the top lane options from this one? Actually, they do take out Renekton. Pantheon was taken away, it's left Elise open, SK wasting no time to take it for Svenskeren.
Again, Elise Pantheon for Svenskeren, it is his two best champions, so it's easy choice for him. The Renekton ban actually hitting Wickd quite hard, because what is he gonna fall back on? We've seen him play Malphite, but then again he mainly plays Trundle and Renekton. Both are taken away, so it's gonna be fun to see what Wickd will actually pick up, and also what is he gonna build.
Irelia. No.
Could be.
I'd be very happy to see that make return, but it's not for now at least. As Sivir actually locked in here for Alliance. That's an interesting choice actually coming in. They've not played Sivir in this bottom lane for Tabzz so far. They also took the Wukong in the jungle. That's another first appearance for Alliance. Shook not played it up until now.
And once again, the Sivir being picked. More and more teams in Europe seems to like her now. She's already very popular in NA and also in Korea. And she's simply, together with Wukong, they bring you this very nice engage. Because if you pop the ultimate when Wukong goes into stealth, it's going to be very easy for him to get into the back line and then pop his ultimate on SK Gaming. And you have the whole team fight starting where Alliance can just start rolling over. Sivir laning wise, she's actually fairly good. And she's able to deal with most champions except for maybe something like a Caitlyn. So we could potentially see him being picked up now that Vayne is open. So maybe they want to try and bait him into Caitlyn and then not into the Vayne.
Well, while he take Vayne, there's no real pressure on him to take it this early on. And in the end, we do see him hovering over not just Caitlyn, but Leona in there as well, possibly for nRated.
So Leona against Sivir is not an easy matchup for Leona, because it's hard for her to actually start the fight. If, however, she can get onto Sivir, it doesn't really matter that she spell cheats one of the stuns, because she just has something else to lock her down. We did see the Caitlyn. She has such a huge advantage when it comes to auto-attacking onto the Sivir, and she can more or less harass Sivir out off the lane early and prevent her from getting a lot of CS. It might mean Alliance wants to lane swap.
So we see Alliance currently with...
Whoa!
Not being funny, but I did call it. Irelia in today here for Wickd, and the Morgana actually being picked up here as well for Alliance. I wish I called that Irelia with knowledge. It was actually just a bit of a jokey throw it out there, but it will be Irelia, and he has played a couple of games of this week. I've seen Wickd playing that online, so interesting stuff.
Yeah, so the Irelia for Wickd, an old favorite. It shows again though, if you ban away these two champions, he has to find something new. He didn't want to go with the Malphite. Irelia lane-wise, we don't know what he's going to be against yet. But one of the reasons she kind of fell out was due to a mana cost being fairly high, so it's hard for her to actually really duel these very tanky champions in lane. So we'll see how he's going to perform. The Morgana one versus Leona. It is such a good pickup. We just saw it last game, how much Black Shield actually can do. And if you put it on to someone like Tabzz, you just give him all this free room to do a lot of damage in team fights.
Yeah, it gets him away from a cocoon, from solar flares, Zenith Blade. Take your pick from that one. We'll see though, because we see Mundo locked in here for Freddy122 in this top lane. No surprise there that, you know, with the bans that we've already seen targeted at that top lane, that he's going to go for that big beastie Mundo.
So Mundo is a very slow laner. It opens up for Wickd to actually get a lot of farm on really early, because Mundo is having a hard time punishing people. He really needs to get some levels, get some tankiness, and then once you get to the team fights, he's going to become this monster. So this should open up for a very good lane for Wickd. I still feel like Alliance might want a lane swap to avoid having Sivir against Caitlyn, simply to make sure Tabzz can get the farm they need, because they seem to have a very AD carry focused one with the Morgana as well to help out Tabzz if he gets the items needed. The 6 being locked in for Jesiz. Once again, he loves to play these farm heavy champions. He loves to just stay in the mid lane, farm all the time. Don't really have too much of an impact on the map except for throwing his ultimates, but if he can just get very farmed and maybe shut down Froggen, he will be in a good spot.
Yep, 10 kills he's picked up so far this season with Ziggs. It's Jesiz in the mid lane. We'll see how he does this time around, and we will be seeing LeBlanc locked in actually in the end for Alliance and for Froggen, who honestly, you know, he's not played much LeBlanc. We know that he can play it. The one game that he did pick it though was against the Super Hot crew early on, right the way back in week 1 actually. They ended up losing that game.
They lost it, but Froggen actually had a very nice game because he got ahead early and then he roamed to the other lanes and started setting up kills. If he can do the same against Ziggs, he will be able to have a great impact. The dangerous thing is, Ziggs has a lot of early game poke onto LeBlanc. So if he can manage to hit pretty much all his skill shot early on, it's hard for Froggen to do too much. But then again, the disadvantage of Ziggs is the fact that LeBlanc can jump onto you and then she can get all her damage in, silence you, get the chains in and just start hammering you down. This mid lane matchup we really have to keep an eye on how it's gonna go because both of them have the kill potential on each other.
And that top lane, something that we're going to have to be keeping an eye out on as well. We're going to see Irelia for Wickd in the first time in, well, I can't even remember how long. I do not know the last time we actually saw him play. Sometime in Season 2, I can only really imagine.
It is a champion he can play, build Trinity Force first item on, and it actually it works really well.
He likes his Trinity Force, and we'll let him off by building it with Irelia. Not quite like we do with Malphite, though. Guys, you've been sending us your picks for today's matches, so let's see who you chose in this one. Looks like 60% of you actually going in favor of SK Gaming.
And nobody would have said this before the season, but SK have really proved how good of a team they are, and I also see them as slight favorites. But then again, this is Alliance. We're not really sure what team is showing up. If it's the really strong Alliance, we're in for an amazing game.
Well, the thing is, we can only look really at the form and the trends that we've got. It's an even play, an even numbered week here. And that's where they win their games. Lost everything in weeks 1, 3 and 5. Won everything in weeks 2 and 4. We'll see if that trend continues here as we get in game between SK Gaming and Alliance. Going to be an interesting one, this one, just to point out right at the very start. Both top laners running with the teleport this time around.
It's smart actually by Wickd because once again, Mundo is a very slow laner, so you have more or less a free lane to farm in, and by bringing the teleport he can follow Mundo down if something should happen, if a dragon fight should open up or a fight in the bot lane, and he can come in there and he can try and take up a few kills. Notice also how he started Thorn's Blade. He's not fearing Mundo at all and he really wants to harass him.
Really excited to see how this Irelia comes in, because if he does well, it's probably not going to be the last time that we see Irelia on the table for Wickd, and we'll even be able to draw some of those famous Irelia bans, which kind of haunted him back in the day when his champion pool was a little bit lacking. Was he known for being a beast on that Irelia, and not a lot else, to be brutally honest, I think, back in the day.
But that's kind of been the story for Wickd, actually, throughout his entire pro career. He only plays these 3 or 4 champions at a professional level, and teams often like to ban him out and force him on something else. And now we're going to see how, again, that really works. We haven't seen it in such a long time.
Well, so far, he's dodged one and caught one cleaver from Freddy, who's going to go straight in towards the brush there. Does a bit of damage, and another cleaver comes in, and Mundo walks away. Nothing really to be had in that top side of the map, but here are those wards coming down once again. We've seen them so often this time around. Svenskeren was ready for it, able to get it with the reset on the auto attack and take the ward out, put one of his own down.
It's not doing too big of a difference, as the ward was only for 1 minute, and SK Gaming are just backing off anyway to their blue buff.
So we do have a slight pause. We saw their Nyph just leaving the game, so hopefully he shall be getting himself back in. He's just having a restart on his client, then we'll be able to get things back underway. And now he's playing that Morgana this time around, the first time that we've seen Alliance go in that direction.
Exactly, and if he can manage to do, like Mixa did in the last game, land all the black shields at the perfect times, he can make sure that Leona has no chance of ever engaging properly, and therefore give a big advantage to Alliance. And also, I think I just noticed, is the fact that Jesiz, he picked up barrier, so he wants to make sure that he can survive some of the upfront burst from Froggen, and then try and hit him back and maybe get a kill on Froggen if he goes too aggressive.
I also want to point out the fact that one thing we've constantly said about Alliance is they've seemed to lack a strong personality in terms of shot calling stuff. We also said that really about SK Gaming in the earlier stage of the season, but in the last 5 games, SK have been on a completely different level. They look like a new team compared to that early season SK.
And everything more or less just worked for them. Everyone has stepped up their game, and the picks for them have been very smart, especially the Vayne pickup have given them quite a lot of wins, I would say, because it's been so hard for teams to deal with this. And then the tactic from SK, it might be simple, but it's working. And so far, teams haven't really caught up to it yet. They haven't made sure to have a counter strategy. So everything is just been working for SK, but it's just a matter of time, at least in my opinion, before we have a team actually noticing how SK plays, especially with how Svenskeren moves early game. He's always first going to bot lane, then he's going to top lane, and more or less ignoring the mid lane. So it will be fun to see if Shook has a counter gank ready.
Well, what happens to SK Gaming if Svenskeren is prevented from doing this one. If he gets counter jungle and has to spend more time, picking up farm here and there and can't get in to get kills on his lane, that's going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on here in this one in the early stages. But it looks like Nyph problem is all sorted, so we can get back into the game. SK and Alliance both backing away to their buffs. There's another question mark for me as well. Shook playing Wukong for the first time in the LCS. He's been himself very hit and miss, with mostly miss, I have to say as well.
Yeah, it's been some kind of weird games for him. Wukong is a very good champion, especially for a guy like him, because again, he wants to be in the face of SK Gaming. Once he hit the level 6, his ganks are going to be very powerful, but before the level 6 mark, he's actually not going to bring too much other than just straight up damage, because he doesn't provide any CC. And notice down here in the bot lane, SK Gaming is actually taking a lot of harass early.
And we see how much both of those teams wanted to hit level 2 before the other, absolutely hammering those creeps, taking a lot of harassment damage between them as well. And we'll see exactly who gets into that position first of all. Candy Panda there taking hits from those bouncing blades of Tabzz.
Notice how Nyph actually started with his pull, the W, simply as you said yourself, to shove the lane. He didn't even go for bind. Now he's level 2. Whoa, also for SK. Are they going for something?
Oh, Zenith Blade from nRated was off towards Tabzz. Didn't really have the range there. Is that Tormented Soil down? Binding didn't come out from Nyph, but they're playing this one very, very aggressive, and just the position of Nyph here can scare SK Gaming into backing away, knowing that the risk of that Dark Binding always stands.
And if they can get the early game going for Alliance side and make sure that Candy Panda can't get too much harass onto Sivir every time she's trying to CS, Alliance will get the farm they need. And they need Tabzz to be farmed, they need him to be a threat in this team fight so they can really use the Black Shield. A
tense bottom lane, and we saw that video before, the fact that Nyph and Candy Panda, so much history all the way back to Season 1 where they played together on Game D before moving over towards SK Gaming, this time around against each other again for a second time this season.
And I like the fact that Alliance have early on warded the river to simply make sure that they can spot out Svenskeren if he should be coming down. The ward trinket, again, notice Svenskeren here. He might be worrying something, or he's just going to take the long way down to bot lane. Once again, he loves to do his first gank in bot lane to try and get Candy Panda rolling. I made a shock there.
Candy Panda is fine by me as well, and actually wasn't spotted there whatsoever. The ward was very, very deep. That was from Tabzz a little bit earlier and just threw it down in the river, which he actually would have been able to repel in there and at least start something off. But in the end, he backs away. He's just going to get back on his route to farming. This bottom lane remains tense, though. There's neither team really wanting to go all in at this point.
And I actually think it was very smart he didn't go for this one, because you had Black Shield on Nyph as they hit level 3, and you also had the Spell Shield onto Sivir, so it's very hard for Svenskeren to actually lock them down with Cocoon, as they can more or less block everything and just walk away. They don't even have to flash.
Got to hit it pretty much max range from the brush at that point. Takes a good bit of aim, and if it misses, then it's gone, that's for sure. This top lane, very interesting one, not a matchup that we've been used to analysing recently, that's for sure. Mundo versus Wickd on his good old Irelia.
And more or less just farming away, just as we talked about how Irelia will have the pressure in the start, because Mundo's is very slow starter, and Wickd, if he can keep Freddy here, he can just constantly pick up the farm. However, it is a bit risky for him, because if a gank should come from Elise, he's very exposed.
And how does that work? I mean, what's the aim here with this Irelia pick? It's obviously different champion to some of the others that we see in this top lane. What is Wickd going to be doing when it comes to team fights? Well,
if he gets his early Trinity Force, he's going to have a lot of damage, and he's going to be very hard to deal with for SK actually, because Caitlyn, she's not a tank killer. Now we see actually Svenskeren coming towards his top lane. Once again, first he goes bot, then he goes top. Alliance, they were ready for it. They've been watching the replays of SK Gaming, so they knew exactly how Svenskeren was moving, and they're not biting, or they're not getting ganked.
Stay away from dangerous positions in the lane generally. Make sure you keep everything as safe as you possibly can, and not get taken down by Svenskeren, who's had to, resort to more farming and farming and farming now, as he's not had those opportunities to get involved in the lanes.
That's correct. I mean, he can get the early snowball and he can get his lanes going. The thing again about the Irelia we talked about earlier with teamfight wise, we need to see how Wickd actually decides to build. Is he going more or less full damage, Trinity Force, Wits End, into more damage of Blaze the Rune King? Or is he going to build more tanky to try and be this frontline figure? Alliance, they have somewhat of a pick comp with the LeBlanc and also with the Sivir ultimate to pop off so they can catch someone out. So if he's going more damage wise, they might be able to get a few kills and then force SK to back off. However, if SK is teamfighting like Super Hot Crew, then the front line of Freddy will do way more than the squishy Wickd.
Yeah, and that's an interesting one because we've seen a lot of Wukongs going quite damage heavy in the build, even to the point where they've been destroyed in team fights because they weren't really tanky enough to stay alive in that one. So interested to see who goes tanky between Shook and Wickd from this one. But Alliance here, they're on the roam down towards this bottom lane. Jesiz did start to come over as well, hanging around by red buff, but look at this, SK completely ready for that.
Yeah, they are pinging them up. They saw them actually go in there due to the ward they have in the river bush. So they saw Froggen move in and they know, okay, they actually spot them going out as well. And now Shook moving behind Jesiz. Can he try something?
Well, he is going to be stealthed in. He doesn't have Cyclone, so even if he did get himself through that, he wouldn't have been able to really lock anyone up. And there's a little bit of a pause.
Yeah, he would only be able to do some damage onto Jesiz, but he would never have any chance of killing him. He would actually need Froggen to set it up with a chain and then jumping in. The wise thing for Shook though, return to the jungle, get you level 6, and then you can start focusing on ganking.
Now, Candy Panda apparently just having to restart his client from this one, and hopefully, as before, we'll be quickly and safely back into the game. So I want to talk about farm here because we're 7 minutes and 10 into this game. Top lane 55 plays 56, the jungle 31 to 33, mid lane 61 to 57, and 54 to 57 between the AD carries. Very, very even start to this one.
Very even, and for me, the interesting point is then the top lane, because you have this Dr. Mundo, you need to normally shut him down early, make sure he's not getting rolling, getting the items to be this very tanky monster. So for me, seeing how Wickd is actually going to do in teamfights with Aurelia is going to be such a key point, because if he's able to do more or less the same as Freddy, or even more, it's fine for Alliance to simply say, okay, both top laners, you just farm evenly, it's okay for us. However, if he's not able to have an impact in teamfights, Alliance is going to lose out big time on the fact that Freddy is getting all the farm he needs.
So we talked earlier about which of them is going to go tanky. Which one would you prefer in there? I mean, for me at least, the Wukong that's going to be straight in there right at the start of a fight with that Cyclone needs to be able to withstand enough damage to get everything off.
Yeah, I would say if Wukong goes something like a Black Cleaver and then builds tanky, it's going to be alright. Same goes for Wickd. If he goes Trinity Force, maybe builds Rune King, and then from there on goes tanky, it can be fine for Alliance as long as they win the early game. Now we actually saw all the damage from Wickd. But also look at his mana. As we talked about, the mana costs on his abilities are very high early on.
Very high, and the problem is that Freddy just says, well, nice try, mate, but I'm just going to pop my ultimate and I've got full HP once again. So, interesting damage coming out there. Those Transcendent Blades, obviously, really easy to get the damage in there. We'll see how that one all continues. Meanwhile, blue buff was just picked up by Jesiz from Svenskeren, just helping him out with that one. There's actually an ultimate from Jesiz to keep that wave pushing up there and to keep himself going on the farm. The bottom lane actually of Alliance did just recall, so we're seeing the first items coming down there. BF Sword is what we'll see Tabzz returning into lane with. And
when Candy Panda goes back, he can pick up his own BF Sword, and they're going to be so even. The damage-wise, again, it is hard for any of them to pick up any kills, especially because Black Shield will counter Leona, and also it's very hard for Nyph to actually hit a binding and set up a fight. And then the damage on Sivir is not amazing. He really needs some items to really get the Boomerang Blade going, and he's actually going to bring more utility than straight up damage.
Now Froggen has just got his blue buff there as well, as we saw. That puts them even on that front in the mid lane. So let's go and just getting a ward over by a dragon as well. We've not seen any attempts on that whatsoever. I think simply because there's been no real advantage gained by either team. But Wickd going heavily on towards Freddy. But again, look at his mana bar. He's got nothing more to follow up with.
And he's more or less just trying to harass to get the ultimate out of Freddy. So he's having a bit of a threat of killing him if we actually had some mana, or if Shook should come up and they want to try a dive or set something up. Shook is level 7 at the moment, so he has ultimate. We need to see if he's going to do something.
Not seeing a Cyclone from him just yet, but that is certainly to come as we move forward in this one. There's Jesiz. Was he going to go down? No, decides against it. Svenskeren was actually there. They've got a pink ward in the tri-bush here, SK, as well, and we can see that they're sat quite heavily back on towards their own turret. So there is an opportunity for him to get at least to the tri-bush before being spotted by the brush ward.
Yeah, but again, as we talked about earlier, Spell Shield and Black Shield, it's very hard to set up any kind of gank. They actually need a Alliance to more or less dive them down bot lane, and then Svenskeren can join in and maybe try and pick up a kill.
So, just So again, the top lane, Nyph, sorry, not Nyph in the top lane, that'd be interesting. Wickd trying to bully out Freddy once again onto things. There's another dark binding from Nyph that he's not had the most success with. Has landed a couple, but they were mainly when they were already behind the turret on that one. And again, it's just simple harassment back and forth.
And we see now Wukong has gone back. He's bought the Spirit of Elder Lizard, so he's going for the damage early on. He wants to be able to get in the face of someone and actually take them down. Because Wukong, he brings quite a lot of damage, and the Black Cleaver, if he decides to go for this one next, is gonna shred the armor on everyone from SK that he's hitting, and then Wickd can come in with his somewhat his auto attacks, at least on physical damage, and then at the same time Tabzz is gonna do more damage if he can get to the back line.
So let's see where this one nRated, just clearing out that ward. Alliance knowing that that pink ward is now in there. Nyph actually does take the damage from the ace in the hole. Not an incredible amount at this point, but we do finally see Monkey King headed towards this bottom lane, but again, Binding misses, but nRated gonna be pulled straight into this one, but they go for Candy Panda. Barrier already used, but Candy Panda goes down. It's first blood going to Tabzz, and they may get even more. It's the Dark Binding that does this time land from Nyph. 2 kills, Dragon surely straight away.
And that was such a perfect bait from Nyph. He walks in there, he kinda low on HP, and nRated just jumps on it. He wants to get the kill. Shug is there, and then you see him going in onto Candy Panda, knocking him up, so the Boomerang Blade from Tabzz hitting him both on the way in and on the way back. That was so much burst damage, and the Elder Lizard from Wukong also made him get this kill.
So Dragon started off as we expect with no bottom lane for SK down by the Dragon. And Alliance surely going to be just taking this one without any kind of contest whatsoever. The first one in the game goes their way, and that puts them 2,000 gold up. That's a very healthy early gold lead.
And that was such a perfect move overall, and this shows how important it is to get a gank in on the bot lane when you can then go and take Dragon afterwards, because you more or less get such a huge lead. Had he gone top and gotten a kill on Freddy, it just meant that SK could maybe move in and take the Dragon, and you just more or less trade from there. So very nice move by Alliance, and very nice bait once again from Nyph.
Looking at the CS in that top lane, we know that Wickd has thrown his full mana pool basically at Freddy a number of times now to try and bully him out of this lane. Not the easiest person to bully ever. It's 113 to 115 CS in that one, so Wickd slightly ahead. How much gold they're actually signing just shows you that they've not been willing to leave that lane. They obviously feel that they can't really kill each other at this point of things, especially with both of them on teleport rather than having something aggressively ignite in there, for example. They're going to have basically a full item when they come back into lane.
More or less. I mean, where you can almost pick up the 24s. See Svenskeren moving up here. He's spotted by a ward, and Shug is nearby.
Well, they try and counter this one. Shug's actually already hit the recall, so he's not going to be involved whatsoever. And now we see as Svenskeren went through, Shug actually thought twice about that one. Froggen had started to move up towards this top lane as well, so Svenskeren should know that he is in a little bit of danger. He's backed off to the Tribush from the Golem Brush there, but he's going to go down towards the red. The buff's already gone. That was already taken away by Shug, and it's going to be Svenskeren just having a peek. I'm guessing getting himself a ward down. No, he's not actually got one to throw in, so raise the set.
So the thing again about the Alliance combo, if again we get the Black Cleaver onto Wukong with the physical damage from Wickd, he doesn't actually have to go for early armor penetration. He can focus on again Trinity Force, maybe a Wit's End, and then go more towards tankiness. We really have to see what he's building, because at the moment, if he teleports down for a fight, same goes for Freddy. They won't really have too much of an impact because they have no items.
No items and heavy pockets full of gold at this point. We'll see. I mean, 13.5 minutes. It's quite a while to be sat in lane, but again, they've not really been challenged by the junglers. There is that pink ward going to be spotted. Actually, Shug going to take a lot of damage from this one. Solar Flare goes down as well. There is the Black Shield coming in. nRated gets the kill, and now he's going to be chased down, but here comes the rest of SK. Froggen comes around the back. Actually, he's going to take a lot of damage to back away, and now Nyph is definitely a dead man. Jesiz picks that one up. It's a 2-for-1. The jungler and support going down for Alliance. Just nRated falls down for SK.
That was a little bit too aggressive by Shug. He thought he could clear out the ward fairly safe, but they just instantly went for him. Now Wickd teleporting back in, forcing flash from Freddy.
Teleporting in there with the Trinity Force. Went back home, bought the Trinity Force, teleports straight in, goes super aggressive onto Freddy, and now Freddy knows it's time to actually back off and pick up something with all that gold. A Randuin's Omen and a Kindle Gem.
So I have a feeling that once he returns here, they're still not going to kill each other.
No.
So we have the Trinity Force, but we have the armor stacking Freddy, and it's just going to be farm, and then we're going to see, once we get to team fights, who's going to have the biggest impact. Both teleports are now gone, so they're not even expecting to move from here.
No, just a standard top lane farm game at this point. We'll see who gets the better of that one. Currently, still even only 5 CS is the difference between the two of them. There is Wickd going in, so we can get an early indication of what they do to each other. And actually, Freddy does a bit more damage with his briefcase at this point.
At least as long as Wickd is on fairly high HP, the briefcase does more damage, so he can harass him down. But he won't really be able to kill Wickd from there, because the lower Wickd gets, the less damage we have on Freddy. And again, farm away, and they're both happy with it. Both top laners actually like this style of just getting very strong in the lane and then have impact later on.
Having a little bit of a dig at each other as Wickd again goes in towards Freddy. And he can throw that ulti down on him as he wishes as well. Not really a high cooldown on that one. Svenskeren again seems to get up to this point just before the brush and then turns around again. So I think that's the second or third time so far this game.
And the sad thing for Svenskeren is top lane is kind of the only lane for him to gank. But again, bot lane is very hard for him to get into. And also the Blanc in the mid lane with double jump, also a flash. And then you have the six who's not putting up too much CC, so you can't really gank there, and he's just constantly focusing on the top lane. He wants to maybe even dive with.
There's a turret going down though, finally, with 16 minutes into this game. It's Alliance that get that one, and look at this. Wickd has spotted Svenskeren there. They're going to ping. Will we see Froggen come up towards that top side of the jungle? No, they knew that Svenskeren was there somewhere, just not exactly where, because he was spotted from Froggen, headed up here from the ramp in towards the enemy brush, and they knew he'd not come out of the top because of Wicked's ward. In the end, Svenskeren's just hanging around, taking all the farm.
And the fact they actually knew where Svenskeren was meant they could take the bot turret without being in danger of a gank. So it's a very smart move by Alliance, simply taking the advantage somewhere else. And now in the mid lane, Wukong is here. Can he try and stealth in?
Who are they going to go for? There is the push in. Jesiz going low. He's already used the barrier. Can they push around? That is a good satchel charge to get him out of danger. And in the end, Froggen the one that goes lower out of the two. No kill. Again, we don't even see really some. I say that's totally allowed. Someone smells burnt with the barrier and the flash in there for Jesiz. Top lane, again, we just saw Wickd going aggressive on Freddy. Gets him fairly low, he just pops his ultimate as the bomb comes down. Froggen just dodging away.
Just dodging away. It was actually a very nice 2v2, but none of them really had the damage to finish each other. They used pretty much everything except for the Ziggs ultimate. That was the only thing left up, but both just decided to disengage and just back off. They didn't want to fight any longer.
So Shook some enemy, some wards down into the enemy jungle. Notice the timer in the top left. Dragon is up in just a couple of moments, and Alliance already waiting for it.
Yeah, notice how both top laners are moving down towards the dragon. Also, Froggen is moving with Wicked. He picked up a blue pot, so he's gonna be ready to fight. And Wicked got a giant skull now, so he's slightly tanky. Alliance might though be able to take this one without any chance of SK stopping it.
Okay, we see the ace in the hole, and there is Alliance taking that dragon away. The second one of the game, both of them going their way. Tabzz actually using his ultimate here to get everyone out of danger. Nice pickup, nice and safe from Alliance overall.
Nice and safe, and they had the timer for it, so they were just waiting for it. The rest of the team were coming in case there should be a fight, but they just started it and got it. Now SK Gaming, they're pushing onto this mid turret.
Pushing onto it, and they've got a lot of damage as well that they can put down from range. Freddy tanking up a couple of hits from that one, and it will finally fall. The minions in the end taking that. That's the first turret of the game for SK.
And look at the siege combo from SK with Ziggs throwing in the bombs, we have the Caitlyn poking away, even Svenskeren was there poking, and you have Freddy just throwing in the cleavers, and if someone should be low enough, we have him ready to start the fight. So SK using the combo, Alliance, they rely more on trying to pick up a target and just instantly engage and start a fight, not sit here and try and wave clear.
Freddy actually going into his jungle, going to take the white away, as we did see a deep ward actually coming down from Wicked just a moment ago, so he's got vision of where Svenskeren will be coming at him, and Svenskeren really has not had any luck on this top side of the map. He's not really had any luck on any side of the map. This is what we pointed out, that he'd have to have an impact, and he just hasn't up until now.
Yeah, and it's credit to Alliance, because they knew every time where he was. Ooh, Froggen might actually almost catch out Svenskeren.
Blind Cocoon, and Mines just saying no, you can't chase through that one. Alliance had brought a bit of a team down to this middle lane, or up to this mid lane as well, because Nyph had moved up from the bottom lane, leaving just Tabzz alone. He might have a good chunk of damage on towards that second turret. No, he just backed off completely.
And again, Alliance are just playing so smart when it comes to Svenskeren. They make sure they know exactly where he is at any point. And even when they didn't have a ward on him early, they just knew there's a chance he's here. He likes to gank these two lanes. We're not going to go aggressive. We actually saw Wicked in the top lane way early on, simply just backing off and making sure that Svenskeren couldn't do anything to him.
There's Wicked just getting the last bits of farm underneath the tower. Doesn't really care that he's tanking up those hits, as you mentioned. Got that giant belt in after picking up his Trinity Force. So looking like he's going the way we thought, with Trinity Force first and then going the tanky route.
And this is going to be a very scary Aurelia, because late game she is still very, very strong. And with all the farm he's picking up, and with the early Trinity Force and now also some tankiness, if it's going to be a Sunfire or Randuin's Omer, he's going to be very hard to deal with for SK, and he's going to have a lot of damage.
Look at the AD carries there. We saw a bit of a trade in the bottom. They're pretty much identical in terms of how far they are on with their builds right now. Both with a Bloodthirster, with a Zeal, and with those Berserker Greaves in there. The farm just 6 difference between them.
And here's the difference between 2 AD carries. Oh, Froggen like trying to go on Jesiz. He didn't have too much mana though, so he couldn't do a lot. But again, the difference between these AD carries when it comes to fights is the fact that Sivir brings so much utility to the team. If they can use this ultimate to start the fight or at least get an advantage in the fight, she will do more than the Caitlyn. Unless we go to the really late game point where Caitlyn can pick up 4 or 5 items and really start taking the team on her back and just carrying.
While we're talking about items, we should touch on this mid lane there. The DFG was the first item that Froggen went for, so he's going to be looking to catch people out of position. Got a blasting one in there as well. On the other side of things, Deathcap should be finished pretty sharpish for Jesiz. Got both that needlessly large rod and blasting one on top of his Athene's Unholy Grail. And look at this, Alliance now starting to move up. They're going to be spotted by a couple of wards though.
And there's a pink wards that is spotted. They're going anyway.
They're going in for this one. This is very, very interesting. Shook already taken down to half. He's going to pop the Cyclone, but he's died. nRated picks that one up. Now they dive on towards Nyph. Here comes a bomb from the side. nRated falls, and that is 2 quick kills. Tabzz stood on a trap. Tabzz is a dead man. Double kill coming out for Svenskeren. And just like that, SK Gaming, they had full vision of Alliance in that one. And it was a costly move from Alliance up through the jungle. No vision. They can maybe lose Baron for it as well.
Now again, 3 members from Alliance, they were calling for Jesiz. They wanted to kill him. Shook on the other hand, he decided to go for the rest of SK, and then they could just pick him up very easily, and Jesiz survived because he managed to flash over the wall. And now, oh, Froggen come in. Can they try and stop this?
And they go in. Wicked's on the top side as well. Baron is very low, and there's a pickup. It's Svenskeren that smites it down. A great move from SK Gaming. Overall, vision of the enemy team coming through their own jungle. They got the kills from that. They turn it straight towards Baron. They've got a gold lead now slightly, but it's this Baron buff that's on them now for the next minutes that's surely going to cost Alliance.
And it was simply a miscommunication mistake. Again, 3 members went on one target, a different member went on a completely different target and just got killed, and then the rest of SK could just go in there, take the kills, and then Tabzz stepping on the trap, so he also died, which meant SK could take a fairly safe Baron. Froggen tried to come in and stop it, but he couldn't really do anything.
One thing that's impressed me as well about SK in the last 5 games where they've looked really strong is how they turn a little bit of a lead and really push that into a massive lead where they can't really, the enemy team can't really come back from that. And we'll see if they're feeling confident, if they can do that here again versus Alliance.
And that's the thing with the champs. Oh, they're going on Freddy in top.
Going on to Freddy. Can they actually kill him off? They've literally thrown everything they've got at Freddy. There is his ultimate pop. The blades coming out from Wickd. He puts down his slow and also the Randuins. And Freddy might just escape from this one. The Tether land is underneath his own turret right now. And Wicked's tanking it up. He's got no mana. Froggen can't really tank things either. He does flash in there. Froggen might just die from this one. No, he gets the kill. And he's going to try and recall. Jesiz is coming across though. He's got the bomb. The bomb's going to go in there. Oh! Gets out of it. That was super close.
But meanwhile on the map, bot lane, Panda is taking the bot turret. He keep pushing up. The rest of SK is in the mid lane. Alliance invested so much time into killing Freddy that now SK is simply punishing them elsewhere on the map.
That tower is down. I don't think Shook's going to be able to do anything. He's going to actually go in on towards Panda. Needs to be careful though because the spider is just around the corner. That's a great net over. He goes on towards Shook. There's the ace in the hole and Shook goes down.
So again, killing Freddy top lane cost SK Gaming Alliance 2 turns in bot, and it's not over yet.
It's not over. Froggen going to get slowed and finished off there by Jesiz. This TP coming in, I was going to say you might want to cancel that one out, Wicked, and in the end they do decide to do that one. Here's the push in towards the inhibitor turret. Can they finish off?
And this is such a difference in decision making and shot calling. SK is making every single right move at the moment. As soon as they spotted 2 people top, they just punish Alliance elsewhere, and now Alliance trying to come back in and stop it, and they just end up dying for it. First Shook goes in completely alone trying to kill Panda, and he wasn't even close.
That's the question that I asked just moments ago. Can SK do what they've done so well in these last games and push through with the advantage that they've built for themselves? It's going to grow even further. We can see that the gold lead was, I think after Baron, just 300 or 400 between them. After they finish off this Dragon, it becomes a whole lot worse for Alliance.
And also, look at the champions from SK Gaming. This is what they do every single game. They have these very team fight based, late game based champions. So once they get a lead and they start goofing up, it is so hard for the enemy team to actually stop them due to having the farm needed on the right champions. And every single one from SK's side here is very strong in team fights and very hard to deal with. If they can keep this pressure going, if they can just move up here, try and take another inhib, it's going to be very hard for Alliance to do anything unless they can catch SK out, get a pick with the LeBlanc with DFG. It's not going to be Freddy though.
And if we look down the items that the junglers have gone for, Svenskeren actually picked himself up the Riley's Crystal Scepter in there, so some damage on top of a bit of tankiness as well with that Giant's Belt in there. There's the ace in the hole actually flying through and landing on towards Nyph, and SK not messing around here. In fact, we do see nRated taking a lot of damage. There is the Solar Flare coming out, and they're going to keep pushing from this one. Double kill actually coming down, and it's all a little bit messy this time around as Svenskeren doing the damage to Tabzz. Can he finish him off? Is he going to fall? He's super low. Smites the minion. He doesn't fall in the end, and actually that will be a 3-0, a messy affair.
Just as we sit here and praise SK Gaming for doing very few mistakes, they actually do the big mistake. Freddy wasn't there, he didn't have teleport. Alliance, a bit like we talked about, they need to catch them out when they're not together. They managed to do this, they managed to get the engage on, and Wickd, he was a beast. He took a double kill, and they couldn't deal with him. He had so much damage, and he got actually into the backline of SK.
So where do Alliance go from this one? Let's bring them back somewhat in things. Wickd now 2-0-2 on that Irelia. And we can say that, you know, between them, they've both got, and talking about between him and Shook, who definitely went the damage. But let's forget that, because that fight is here once again.
Again, it's actually a dark binding by Nyph starting everything, and they don't care if it's nRated. They just want to fight, because Freddy's stuck in this top lane. And look at Wickd here. Look at the damage he's doing onto Candy Panda. Dashing into him once again, popping the Randuins, and picking up the kill. And from here on, the damage from SK Gaming is more or less gone, because Jesiz, he's forced to jump out due to, again, Nyph. He's the one who starts the fight, then he goes in, pops the ultimate to zone out Jesiz, which means free damage for the rest of Alliance. And Freddy, he was just trying to run down and join the fight, but it was too late.
I think SK have said, you know what guys, we messed that one up, so let's do it differently this time. They need to be careful because their AD carry is not there with them. He's got a lot of damage at this point, but we still see that Alliance, if they don't feel, you know, in a good position to do anything, they're not going to fight. Wickid's actually going for the top turret. He does have teleport to come into the fight, and this inhibitor turret has been taken quickly. There is Wickd coming in.
And now they're going for the fight. Super ultimate is popped.
There is the repel though. Who are they going to go for? Svenskeren. There's a cyclone coming down. It's great damage coming in. Jesiz at half HP. Nyph is going to fall before his ulti procs, and there's a great solar flare to the back. The Zenith Blade takes him through. Froggen picking them off at the backside though. He falls down to the bomb, and that will be a 3-for-2 in the end. Double kill for Froggen before he went down. Who's going to win this one though? Are they going to keep chasing things up? They've got Tabzz in there, but both Shook and Wickd pretty low. Freddy and nRated, the only two men left alive. I'm not sure they can stop them hammering away on this tower.
And this wasn't even an ideal engage from Alliance, because Wickd, he had to teleport to the turret. There was nothing behind he could teleport to. The rest of Alliance with Shook and Froggen were ready to come in from the side and try and flank around and start the whole fight. But due to Wickd coming in there, they had to rely on Nyph hitting the binding, and he did. Straight onto Svenskeren, he was tanking the turret, and they forced him to repel instantly, more or less, as the fight started. So when he came down, they could just kill him, and it was more or less a 5 versus 4 in favor of Alliance.
25 seconds till Baron comes up as well. SK, of course, did take it last time after a very decisive move as well, you know, picking up a few kills and just moving straight in there to take that one down. This time around, it's going to be different. The last two fights have not been ideal for them. Will that scare them away from Baron?
SK just need to keep the confidence though, because they are such a strong team fighting lineup and a team fighting team. If they just don't get caught out by the bind from Nyph, they will actually have a very good shot at winning the fight. Because again, if you look at both Wickd and Shook, they have some damage, they have some tankiness, but they're not really like full damage or full tank, so they should be able to deal with them. The Guardian Angel just picked up on Wickd is going to make it a lot harder though to shut down Aurelia.
Where do they focus? Will they go for that Irelia, or will they let him wreak havoc? It's a tough call to make, I think. Either way, they want to pop that GA and make it a little bit easier. Next time around, we did see that the Elixir has been popped there for Candy Panda as well, so they're going in with the most that they can do, going for maximum damage in this next fight.
And Candy Panda really needs to be careful here, because there's so many members of Alliance who wants to jump onto him. The only one more or less not touching him is Nyph and Tabzz, but the rest just want to pile onto Candy Panda. He has no Gun Angel, he has no QSS to actually stop anything from going to him, so he really needs to be careful.
I was going to say the death rush there was there from SK. Actually, alternate Alliance going to go for this one. Shooks dived into the middle, and he's actually doing a ton of damage. Candy Panda might fall without doing anything, and he will fall. There is Nyph going to lock up nRated as well, but for now it's 1-for-1. Here comes Froggen though. He's onto the tankiest member of the team. The rest of them join in. There is Wickd diving right to the front. Jesiz trying to keep them away. Froggen actually getting knocked up somewhat and has to go back a little. That's still 1-for-1. Tabzz was not really anywhere near that fight. He pushed down middle, trying to get anything on towards Jesiz.
And they don't even need Tabzz except for the ultimate, because once he pops it, it's so easy for the rest of Alliance to get onto Candy Panda. This time around, two members came to him, and they managed to take him down. He almost got him. Oh, they're going again.
Oh, Svenskeren, I didn't even really try to dodge that Dark Bind in there, landing straight onto him, but look at this, teleport from Freddy. There's no vision currently out. That's now a lie, because Nyph's put a ward over the back. SK putting wards into the backside as well. Baron is started.
And Wickd is far away. He's running now from the base. It's only 4 members from Alliance here to try and stop it. There's no on the hunt, so they have to just go in and fight this one.
Jesiz does have his bomb up, and that's pretty much all he's going to get off from this one. No, he's not even going to get that down. Froggen dives in there, pops him. Now Alliance have the advantage in terms of members. In fact, they're going to go forward from this one. Good slows and cocoons, though, will stop them going in. Will Alliance go for Baron? Even just to bring SK out. There's the ace in the hole. Going to go through on towards Nyph. Freddy caught out. Meanwhile, you can see there in the bottom left that they're going for the inhibitor. Freddy is going to fall down, and we see Alliance diving straight in here. That's 2 kills. This is going to be 3 as well. Shook picks up another one. It was a double kill coming down for Tabzz. Alliance get the kills, turn around. This Baron is there. No one is around now to stop it.
And that was such a risky Baron call from SK in the first place. Candy Panda, he was dead. He respawned and was running to them when they actually already started the Baron. He wasn't there to join. They wanted to force Alliance to go to Baron and then maybe lose the inhib to minions. It didn't work for them. The Wukong pick from Shook has been doing so much work. Every time he's managing to land his ultimate on multiple people from SK Gaming, they just come in there, pile up with Sivir, with LeBlanc, and with Wickd, and they just get all the kills they need. And now the Baron.
Baron going their way, it swings the gold in their favor. Not only that, Wicked's GA wasn't even taken out in that fight. He is still so very scary for the next one as well.
And notice how Sugar's picked up a Banshee. He wants to make sure that he can always get the engage going. He doesn't want to get stopped by a Cocoon from Svenskeren or a stun from nRated or maybe even the net from Candy Panda. He simply wants to make sure that whatever is thrown at him, he blocks it, and then he gets into the back line and he gets his ultimate going, and the rest of Alliance just piles onto it.
Such an intense game at this point. 5 kills separating them. 2,500 gold pretty much is what that lead is now for Alliance, as the buff's going to be picked up there for Candy Panda. He's now added that last whisper into the not Infinity Edge, it's a life. Phantom Dancer and Bloodthirster in his build. Got a Negatron Cloak in there as well. I'm guessing he's going to be headed again off towards that Banshee's Veil. We'll see all about that.
And this is probably the first time I've seen a Rylai's onto release, but it's simply to try and stop some of all the move speed from Alliance. If they can stop them from just piling onto them, and Kite, if they can make Candy Panda survive the engage, so he can start doing the damage he needs. Once he picks up a defensive item, combined with the Rylai's to try and slow down Alliance, and Leona to maybe even stay and help him out by stunning Wukong if it's possible, they can maybe make Candy Panda survive, and then from there on they can start winning the fight.
Oh, the Dragon is gone. Lions pick that one up. And they jump straight off onto Ward's Ward. Froggen going to take a face full of the ace in the hole, actually, which doesn't seem to be phasing him too much. He'll stick around, get rid of that vision that they've got. Meanwhile, Wickd pushing up this mid lane. Blade surging on through that minion wave, and now at half an hour gone, can SK hold on to the turrets in this one? They've got good defensive capabilities with Jesiz in particular.
Yeah, as long as you have Jigs, you can Ziggs, you can more or less always wave clear and try and defend the turrets. Alliance, they do have a combo that can actually dive them. Wickd is very tanky at the moment. He also has the Guardian Angel. If he goes in first and tanks the turret, Alliance might be able to simply just go crazy on SK.
Well, Shook's moving from the side. Actually, doesn't have a flash available, of course, would be spotted underneath the turret range, even whilst going invisible. So Alliance move up towards the Baron side, and once again, is Froggen going to dive in on towards Jesiz? That's a lot of damage. He gets cocooned up here. There is his passive coming out from him, but Shook has gone all the way in. Meanwhile, Wicked going to join the fight. This could be dangerous for them. Wicked's GA does get popped, and he might just die right away from the back of this one, but Nyph with a great binding in there. Wicked still alive, finally goes down, but they've already picked up 3 kills. Freddy going to get pulled up by the ultimate, then the dark binding, and then the slam down from Shook will make it 4 for Alliance.
Panda misclicked his net. He netted into Alliance after he actually killed Wicked, so he was about to spawn up again from his Guardian Angel, but due to the fact that Panda misclicked the net, he got shot into the face of Tabzz, who just killed him. If he had netted the other way, survived, SK Gaming would have had that fight in the back. Instead, Alliance win it, and now they're pushing down for this inhib.
They're pushing down for the inhib, and I don't see what's going to stop them. There's 15 seconds until Panda comes up. Svenskeren in 10. Alliance are going to go for this one. They're going to try to win the game right here. They're at least going to take this one Nexus turret out. The second one, I think, is going to fall as well. The respawns start to come down, but is it going to be in time for them? Nexus already being focused on. It's down to less than half, and it's going to be finished off. And Alliance pick up the victory against SK Gaming, and it seems that the even numbers really do the trick.
And that was such an amazing game all around. Both teams played the team fight so well, so few mistakes, and the combo from Alliance, whenever they could actually get to the back line, they could get the kills they needed. And again, I had to highlight Shook on Wukong. I was really impressed by him this game. He did so well, and he always managed to get multiple people on his side for us.
Really, not just a great win for Alliance there, but I think a massively important win for their confidence as well. Wicked brought Irelia to the table. That was a very much, for me, a dangerous move when you look at, how finicky our community can be sometimes. If you brought that Irelia to the table and didn't do well with it, you were going to get a lot of flack for it, but he did bring it in, and he played it brilliantly, ending 3-1-11.
He was really strong on Irelia. He always managed to, again, get into the right targets. We had to fight in mid lane where he picks up the double kill, which was more or less the turning point for Alliance. SK Gaming actually had the Baron, and they had taken the inhib turret from Alliance, or actually the inhibitor from Alliance. We were saying SK Gaming, they're so hard to do anything against when they're ahead. This time around though, they made some mistakes. Svenskeren was caught up by binding, we had the net from Panda going the wrong way, and Alliance just simply punished SK Gaming for every single mistake and won the team fights, and therefore got back in the game.
And they didn't do that last week. That was the difference in it. The positions where you thought, okay, if they make a mistake here, they're going to end up losing this one, or possibly losing out in the game. But they didn't do that last week. This time around, they did it. Alliance picking up a much-needed win. They lost last week to Roccat and the Super Hot crew, and that, again, just gives them the confidence. I don't know why this whole even and odd number thing really seems to be an actual thing for Alliance, but for some reason it is.
For some reason it is, and that is very